when you realize this person is for you, this space to deal with your mental health, you're paying this person and they are 100% for you. It's a very odd feeling, especially because it's a stranger, you don't know them.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to operate in those spaces. And it took a couple sessions before I finally started opening up, and I realized, okay, like, I don't have to worry about her calling my wife. I don't have to worry about her talking to my friends. This is my person.
Yeah. The relationship started to break down in a positive way. And I remember when before my dad died, he told me he loved me. And it was so impactful that I knew I needed to get my life together. And when I see that, today, if he had applied to medical school at 40, it had taken him in open arms. Because it was just age discrimination. Now they're looking for black doctors. Please, you want to be? They're looking for black doctors.
Yeah,
and he would have been a great.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, NBA podcast, a different face. It's Professor James K. Young. I teach finance at Morehouse. I also run our Morehouse Finance Academy. And today we're going to take a different turn. I have a good friend of mine here. We're going to talk about mental health and the challenges that black men face. So I have Kurtis Greene-Richards here.
Man.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
Fraternity brother as well.
Yep.
So I just want to start off, mental health, especially in the black community, is taboo. Mm-hmm. You talk about mental health, you talk about I'm having some challenges, I'm depressed. Black people tell you, hey, just get up and just, it's another day. Mm-hmm. Tough it out. Disaster. Mm-hmm. And the church has always been taboo about it. But now we see the signs of it. We just lost a football player, a Dallas Cowboy player, for whatever reason, thought his life should end at such a young age. And I see it every day teaching black men. My father went through it, which I'll talk a little bit about later. But what's your view on it? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, man. One, thank you for the opportunity to be on the podcast. Very excited, man. When I think about mental health, it's really important to me because I've seen it in my family, right?
Yeah.
I've seen the lack of appreciation for how important it is. So I think it starts from like a false premise, which is that what's seen is not real. What's not seen is not real.
That's
right. And so the thought is that if you don't talk about it, right, if you don't give voice to it, you're not bringing it up all the time, you're not dragging everybody down, then it kind of dissipates and it's not real.
That's right.
But as we've seen with the player, very recently, and others, we all have personal experiences. Just because we don't talk about it doesn't mean it's not happening. And it's actually more dangerous when you don't share it with others, right? Because you don't give other people an opportunity to intervene and prevent you from doing something that you might regret.
Yep. So why do you think it's taboo in the black community though? Because it's so, when things go wrong in the black community, we'll galvanize, we'll get together, we'll do the right thing and we'll push through.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's just in our blood, just pushing through heartache, disappointment for 400 plus years. Maybe that has something to do with it. I know growing up, I didn't see a whole lot of vulnerability in my life. And so if you cried, you was like, okay, you shouldn't do that. Or if you showed any kind of emotions, you were teased about it. So why do you think it's so taboo? Because it's something we should, it should be natural to talk to somebody about it, right?
It should be. Yeah, I think it's like at least three things. One is, you mentioned one, which is church. I think we're a very religious community, very spiritual community. And, we just think God wants us to be happy all the time, right?
Yeah.
And there's this optimism that we should exude everywhere we go, right? And you're almost not a good servant of God if you are downtrodden all the time and you're not seeing the optimistic view. So I think that's one for sure. I do think there's a historical element to it where we just haven't had time to focus on how we're feeling.
That's right.
Right. We got work to get done. Right. And it's taboo from a standpoint of you don't want to look weak. Right. There's this strong black person myth and being vulnerable and talking about mental health is not looking strong. It's not appearing strong.
Yeah.
And then I would say the third thing is that we're not practiced at it. We don't even know we don't know what it looks like. And so we didn't see our fathers breaking down and having real conversations, even just simple stuff, right? Like I think mental health starts with, I'm sorry, man. I apologize. Like what I did was wrong. My father has never apologized to me. My mom's not apologizing to me about something that they might have made me feel, the way they made me feel. And so I think it starts there. And that's a level of vulnerability. Yep. You see it with your parents, you see it with your friends. And so those are three things I would say contribute to why it's just not a comfortable thing for us in our community.
Yep. Yeah, and to piggyback on that, I know it's like in the church they will tell you, and I'm not pouncing on the church. I love the church.
I love church.
I go to church all the time. So
love my pastor. I'll be there on Sunday.
And I have a good church that I go to now as well, Impact Church, and so I'm able to talk to my pastor all the time. We talk about stuff.
Absolutely.
Pastor Paul. So but here's the thing that I have noticed, old school, you can pray your way out of it. And you can pray your way out of it, but you also need to talk.
Yeah.
Because God has put talented people out here to do what you do.
Yeah.
That's why he or she, if you God, that's why they did it, right? Yes. She put talented people to help people who need that help. Because I always tell my students, what's between the two ears is just as important. You mentally training that muscle as you are training your heart and everything else. So
that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree, man. And I think if you have a toothache, right,
go to dentist.
You're gonna go to somebody who God has ordained and trained to be able to do this really well. You're not gonna pray your way out of that.
That's right.
It ain't enough prayer to when you got something going on with your tooth, you are getting to the dentist.
That's right.
And so, or if you got a problem with your vision, you're going to see the optometrist. And so, why is it that you have these practiced individuals with PhDs, tremendous experience, personally and professionally?
That's right.
They're there.
That's right.
When something's going on, we should seek these individuals out. But I think it has been. I think it's changing. I see a change personally, right? Like I see a lot of groups of women who do a lot of therapy together. I go on retreats, and when I go, I'm surprised at just seeing over time the demographic shift. I'm seeing a lot online about men who are starting to gather in groups, having real men conversations, and creating these safe spaces, because I think we've been plagued long enough. And now we're starting to see, like, this ain't gonna work. Like, we can't do this forever. At some point we've got to deal with it. Otherwise, there's catastrophic problems.
That's you really brought up some really good points there, because women, and they talk about this in publications and articles, women tend to, and especially Black women, when there's something going on. So for example, when a Black couple splits up, they divorce, Black men take it harder than women, because women have a tribe that they go to.
They got community.
They have the community that get them through. So they're able to get through that and push through that a lot sooner than Black men. And I can say that for myself. When I went through my divorce, I struggled for years. And then I couldn't understand why. So I had to look in the mirror and say, dude, you kind of jacked up. You got to get this fixed, right? And I also read somewhere, especially during the pandemic, that's when really men actually realized they didn't have a tribe. They really don't have friends. Because it's different if you and I go hang out, have a cigar, watch a ball game. We're just talking about that.
Yes.
But when do you actually use that time to talk about, hey, man, I'm hurting. Or, hey, man, something's going wrong at home, or something's going wrong with my job, or whatever it might be. Or I'm just not in a good space right now. You're not talking about that when the Bears are playing the Falcons.
No.
You're just not.
No.
And so there's Black women don't have a problem being vulnerable with other Black women. When do we get over that hurdle?
Yeah, see, I think, it's so great, man. So I love this conversation, because women, I think, naturally are just more expressive, and they're more communal. They just naturally just share information, sometimes the most personal set of information with each other. You're like, all right, okay, that's a lot. We probably ain't going there, right?
Right.
But as guys, man, there's this myth of masculinity that exists, and we attribute masculinity with this strength and this bravado, right? It's all external, but it's eating at us. And I noticed it as well during the pandemic. I think that's when I started looking and saying, okay, I have friends, right? But something about the pandemic forced a level of loneliness that just did not exist prior to.
That's right.
And I remember just being extremely depressed the first month or so. I'm what they call, I guess, an ambivert, right? Like I'm cool being out in public talking with everybody, but I'm very much okay at the house chilling
by yourself.
Yeah, by myself. Yep. I'm totally fine with that. But I found that during the pandemic.
What do they call that now?
An ambivert. You're a mix of both, right? So you're extrovert, introvert.
Okay.
But if you you can toe the line a little bit, right? Like, I can get some energy. This is great.
Yeah.
But I could have been at the house chilling as well too. But what I noticed is I didn't realize how alone I felt until like 3 or 4 weeks into the pandemic. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not seeing anyone. And I think America, the world, felt that. And it made me question some of my friendships. And I'm like, I had the same conversation you did.
Yeah.
And I was like, guys, what do we really talk? Like, we saw each other in routines, but not intentionally.
Yeah.
And so some of my friend groups changed significantly because of that. And so like, I have two really close friends, and starting the pandemic, we were setting up weekly check-ins with each other. Like, are you okay? Like, straight up, like, what's going on? And we switched from weekly once the pandemic ended to monthly. And every month is on the calendar. We're getting together, and regardless, period. And even if we miss a month or two, we're getting together 9-10 times a year, which we were not doing before the pandemic.
Which is a significant amount of time.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And when we're getting together, it's, hey, James, like, how's it going, man? Like, how you doing for real? Like, we're going to a cigar bar. It's, going wherever where we can talk.
Yep.
What's going on, man? How's the wife? How's this? How's work?
Yep.
Right? Like, last time we talked about, like, this was going on with your boss.
Yep.
What's happening there? How's your mom doing? Like, we're having real conversations. That has fundamentally changed me, man. And that's real friendship to me. And I'm seeing more of that. And I'm thankful for my friend group because of that. But I think to kind of round this off, I think we haven't seen masculinity in that light. Mm-hmm. I didn't see that with my dad. Mm-hmm. Masculinity meant he knows how to fix everything. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's going to work. He ain't complaining. Mm-hmm. He's making money, putting food on the table for us. That's masculinity. Yeah. But breaking down and being strong by showing weakness.
That's interesting that you brought up two good points, but I'm going to deal with the first one. During the pandemic, I happened to be in Chicago with my mom, and my father had passed away, a number of years before that, but 3.5 years before that. And so I'm at home with my mom, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to camp out here for a while. I know since going to Atlanta, it's nothing, the country's shut down. Mm-hmm. And I noticed after about 2 weeks, first I was worried about my business. I was like, okay, how am I going to put food in play? What's going on? Then once I figured that out, I said, okay, I got out of that mode. Yeah. And then started focusing, around me. It was like, okay, who's checking on me? Who's calling? And I noticed that there are people that I thought, so I went through this evolution where I started to have to, I think after my divorce, I realized there was some mistakes I made. Mm-hmm. And some of those mistakes I made, and I'll be very candid about it, and I hope this helps someone, that when I got married and I went all in. Yeah. But I shut everybody else out. A lot of my close friends.
Tribe, everybody.
My tribe that I didn't realize I really had during college, especially college. A lot of my college buddies, I just stopped communicating with them. And I can't even explain why, to be honest with you. One, I was charged trying to get my career going, trying to find my rhythm, whatever the case might be, trying to, do things right in my family as I knew it. But I really didn't know how to do that. You know what I mean? So I was always conflicted. So fast forward, I buy a business and I do, I'm doing fairly well. And then the pandemic, I had some issues there, and still didn't have a tribe. And I realized in the pandemic, I said, my God, I've gone through this since 2003 for 17 years on my own, and really haven't confided in anybody that either I'm hurting or this is not going well. And that was just, for me, it was emotional. And for me also, from the standpoint, I started to realize it's like, okay, who are my friends? Or who are my real friends? Or where's my tribe? If something goes wrong, I don't know. And then, I have no shame in this. I was damn near bankrupt my company. So I'm looking for places just to get my mind right, just to get through that mentally, Yeah. And thank God for the pandemic, because I was able to stop. Life was able to stop for a minute. I was able to stop. But then you start reflecting. And I don't mean to be long-winded.
Oh, you're good.
So I realized, I said, who you thought were your really good friends? I was like, they're not showing up. But then the guys that maybe that were my friends, but I lost contact, I was almost ashamed to reconnect to them. It's like, man, I'm sorry. Where have I been? I'm sorry that I've allowed this time to elapse. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then they came in really hard. It's like, it's good, man.
Wow. So you reached out to your previous existing friends.
I started reaching out to people, and they started reaching out to me. Hey, are you all right? And I was sort of like, I'm good. And it's like,
how'd that feel?
It felt strange, to be honest with you, because I didn't know how to receive it. And then when I started connecting the dots, And then the other thing I started, and that's why I want to talk about this stuff. I went and got some coaching. I call it coaching because black people, when you say therapy,
You say that T word, they be like, oh, hold on now.
Nah, there's something wrong with you. Something wrong with you, JY.
Yeah.
You got issues, man. What's wrong, man? So I say coaching. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. That's cool.
Right.
That's what I say. So I got some coaching, and that started to help because I had to go. Now that's scary.
Oh yeah.
Because I had to go back and look at things I had put in a suitcase and put up. So then I started saying, okay, what's going on in my life? So I was 55, 54. I'm sitting there like, what's going on in my life? Why am I like this?
Yeah.
And as soon as I found what I call my tribe, and my tribe is real tight.
Yeah.
I realized that my life started to change. Things started to change for me in a different way. I started viewing opportunities differently because of that.
Yeah.
And it all comes back to your tribe is who you hang around with. That's who you become.
Oh yeah.
But one of the things, and I'll let you take it from here. One of the things I did realize is that some of these guys were really vulnerable. They were talking some deep stuff that I had never experienced in my life. Stuff that drilling that either hurt them or things didn't go right, but they wanted to talk about it. And to me, that was refreshing. If that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I mean that. So much of what you said resonates with me because I've experienced some of those things personally as well too. I think the thought process is like we have this closet, this emotional closet that we just dump stuff in, and we just like close the door. And initially the closet is, a wide open space, and over 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years, you keep throwing stuff in there, but you're not really opening it up to clean it out at all.
Yep.
Life experiences, grief, when you felt disrespected or insignificant, all these different things that are happening to us, and especially as Black men, right? Because we're going in the world, we're facing all of these fights, these microaggressions that we can't really call out, but we experience, and we're just throwing it in the closet. And one day you are forced to deal with it. You're either going to deal with it proactively or reactively. And so I know for me, man, it was a little bit of a different scenario where I started dealing with my mental health because I was applying too much pressure on myself. So it's a different story where you have these goals and you find yourself being overly ambitious, and you're just going. And you're ignoring a lot of what's happening around you, what's happening to you, the stress of like trying to do this or trying to do that. So I was working, and I got married young, like yourself, 23. And within the first 5 to 7 years of marriage, went from single to married to having 2 kids, and I got my first managerial job. So now I'm leading people. And then my wife got sick for a little while, and I found myself at this point where I'm like, I have all of this responsibility on me, and I felt myself crumbling, right? And I remember looking around and trying to figure out, like, who do I talk to about this? And what ends up happening is because there was all sorts of things I started doing, vices, as a result of just trying to numb the pain and numb the things that were going on. Yeah. And the fallacy that ends up happening is we tell ourselves that nobody else knows what we're going through.
That's right.
That we're the only one that's going through this, even when we're doing things that's really embarrassing and hurtful to others, hurtful to ourselves. We're like, no, I can't. It's a shame. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody about this, right? And so for me, like, it ended up coming down to where I almost lost everything before I was able to say, okay, you know what? All right, I need to figure something out. So I did go to a therapist, right? She got me right. I mean, and I am so thankful for her.
I'm not letting a therapist, but you call it a therapist. I'm calling it a coach.
Oh, I get it. I get it. And we can also define that for the audience too, because I think people get tripped up. But I remember sitting there in the first couple sessions were weird. It was odd, where it was like, okay, I'm explaining how I'm feeling, and she's we're talking through it, and she's like, well, how'd that make you feel? What about this? What about that? And I felt a tremendous amount of safety that felt very uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
When you realize this person is for you, this space to deal with your mental health, you're paying this person and they are 100% for you. It's a very odd feeling, especially because it's a stranger. You don't know them.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to operate in those spaces. And it took a couple sessions before I finally started opening up, and I realized, okay, like, I don't have to worry about her calling my wife. I don't have to worry about her talking to my friends. This is my person.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And from there, man, I can tell you my life is completely different because I had that person. I didn't realize there were so many things personally that I was dealing with from like childhood, man, that I just hadn't even grappled with. That was completely affecting how I was moving and acting in the world. And I highly recommend coaching, therapy, counseling. I'm gonna take a quick minute just to, counseling. That's a space where somebody is you're gonna meet with somebody who's a professional.
Yep.
But then they're gonna be giving advice on like, hey, you should consider doing this, consider doing that. They're gonna give you some feedback. Therapy is gonna look back and say, hey, like, what's going on? How did you get here? Right? But it's allowing you a space to hear yourself out loud and your thoughts out loud. And then something else I'll share with the audience is like when you think about coaching. So I'm a certified life coach. And so as a life coach, now we're saying, okay, where are you trying to get to? Like, where are you going? What's your vision? And let's figure out what impediments might exist that might prevent you from getting there. And so all different mediums. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, talk to someone.
That's right. Yeah. I can, looking back at my life and how I grew up, had a huge impact on how I reacted in relationships, both romantic as well as friendship, how I dealt with my bosses. It's just everything, and I didn't realize how much that was driving me as a person, because I'm a very driven person. I'm also the only child too. So I can like you, I can be alone. I can be alone, watch a basketball game, do work, whatever, and I can be in my space all day and realize, oh man, I've been doing this, go for a run, I'm Saturday morning, I'm good. Right. But I also can get myself involved with people and talking to people and being like this. I mean, 20 years ago, there was no way you would get me on the camera to be this vulnerable. It wasn't happening. Yeah. It wasn't happening. And I saw this, Michelle Obama said it on her podcast. She said at 61, she is at her best right now. Wow. She knows herself. She is really, she's sure of herself. And I felt the same way when I turned 58, 59. I was like, okay, this is it. This is me. Yeah. This is who I am. I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm not going to. And then but I also had to learn some things too, because I had some anger issues. I had to work on that. I didn't listen very well. There are a lot of things I just didn't do because it was my way or the highway. You go to school, you get a good job, you go to B school, you do all this kind of stuff. I wasn't really working on myself. And all of a sudden, this term called EQ, that's what they all say, EQ, emotional intelligence. I said, okay, what's that? And I read about it. It's like, oh, okay, I get this now. And I'm huge on EQ, just huge on it. I mean, and when you look at the different aspects of emotional intelligence, mine has always been the emotional barometer, just controlling my emotions, being, and I've had to learn. But this is where when we talk about our circle, this is where our circle comes into play, because I have a really good friend, and he has this thing about taking his time, looking at the big picture, not reacting, and taking a step back. I watched that, and I learned that. And I said, okay, I'm gonna emulate that. Yeah. And then once I started doing that, all the other stuff kind of went away. So if someone fires back at me, I get it. I might cuss them out in my place at home. Yeah. But they don't know that. Right. And that's okay. Exactly. That's okay. Cool. That's okay. Yeah. So I get all that. Yeah. One of the things too, I wanted to talk about, you said something about your parents, your dad. Mm-hmm. My dad was the same way. My dad was extremely smart, went to Howard University. Yeah. Majored in zoology, which is crazy. Wow. I don't even know if they have a major anymore. But wanted to be a doctor, came to Chicago, became a teacher. My dad was a great provider. If anything I picked up on that, that's the piece I picked on. We never went without. But my dad dealt with some challenges and disappointments. Just like what you said, he was driven. In his own little way, he was driven. He wanted to go to medical school. By the time he had the money and the stability to do that, he was in his mid-40s. He applied to several medical schools, Meharry, Howard, IU, Indiana University, and didn't get in. And I was probably like maybe the 7th or 8th grade when that happened. And I can remember to this day, he was dejected. He did well in the MCAT. When I said my father was smart, he was smart. I got all my math skills from him. Period. That's why I teach finance. Period. That's, my logic skills from my dad. But one thing, he didn't deal with that well. And when I came to Morehouse my sophomore year, that summer between my freshman and sophomore year, he tried to take his life. And I share that with people because people look at our lives as being just a straight line.
Yeah. It's not linear.
And God bless my mom from being able to say, no, you're going back to school. We'll figure this out. Back then, 84, 85, there was no therapy or anything like that. So he had to go to a hospital to really get himself together. Wasn't very pleasant, medicated, that kind of stuff. Yeah. My dad never recovered from that. Tried to go back and teach, never recovered. Never was, I wouldn't say he was a shell of himself, but he wasn't the same. My dad's name Carl wasn't the same Carl that I knew. But I knew deep down inside when I was young, I was mad. I was angry at him. Like, how could you do this to our family? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's not right. And I sucked in all of that for decades. I wrapped that thing in a bow and it's never coming out. Yeah. So I go out, I'm in relationships. I'm shutting down, lashing out. Or I'm not showing the right way. Or I come out of that and then I go to the opposite way. I'm too nice and being a people pleaser. Whatever you want to call it. I just wasn't James. Yeah. And this is the first time. I've talked about it a lot more now because I'm okay with it. Yeah. But I respect my dad so much. I've always respected my dad. But my dad didn't tell me he loved me until I graduated from graduate school. This is the first time he told me that. And then the relationship started to break down in a positive way. And I remember before my dad died, he told me he loved me. And it was so impactful that I knew I needed to get my life together. Yeah. And when I see that, if he had to, today, if he had applied to medical school at 40, it had taken him in open arms. Wow. Because it was just age discrimination. Now they're looking for black doctors. Please, you want to be? They're looking for black doctors. Yeah. And he would have been a great one. Yeah. So my thing, he was a great teacher. But my thing is not to, no shame on my dad or anything like that. He didn't know any better because his father was very tough on him, and he was one of 9 kids. So my dad didn't know how to be vulnerable. I never saw it. I never saw it until another man. I tell my boys all the time, hey man, I love you. Yeah. And I don't. They can say it if they want to. I really don't care. Yeah. But I want you to know how I feel about you because I always want you to know. One of my good buddies just lost his mom. I said, dude, I got you. Whatever you need, I got you. Yep.
Man, that is so powerful. Man. I appreciate you sharing that. We got so many similarities, man. And so when I think about my dad, similar stories, man. So my family's from Trinidad. So when my parents moved here in 1971, they didn't have degrees. Right. So they got married, came to the States and moved to New York, and like immigrant population, they did whatever they had to survive. Right. Right. And then eventually my mother and my father both got their associate's degree from Baruch College in New York. And then my dad eventually finished school and started working on Wall Street. Right. Investment banker, starting to make money, doing things. Oh, wow. Feeling valued for his contributions. My dad is extremely smart, very educated. He got his PhD at like 65, right? Like he's consistently learning. He's now 82. This is the way he's wired. However, to your point, I noticed a shift with him and even our family overall. We moved from New York, came to Georgia, and Georgia is not an investment capital of anything. That's right. Like it's not what this was, and definitely not late 80s, late 90s, early 90s. And so he struggled to find work. Matter of fact, he stayed in New York an extra year while the family was down here, just trying to figure things out, trying to find a job. He ended up moving down with us and couldn't find work. So this investment banker who was making money in New York ends up having to work for Orkin, right? Pest control, being a security guard, doing whatever it took. But there was a level of embarrassment that he felt, right? Then when I started talking to him, I realized that actually he's had this identity issue for some time, right? When he's talked about his father and how he grew up, to your point, one of the things that he shared with me is that his dad, he grew up with 6 brothers, right? You had 9. He grew up with six siblings. And he was a sibling that his dad was like, you know what? Like, don't come out here with us. Don't try to help us fix the car. None of this. Like, you're book smart. You're just going to drive us around. And so he sent him in the house. And so my dad felt emasculated because his brothers are, super handyman. And he's like, well, you're the smart one. So this is something he always grew up with.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then when I saw how that played out in the family, in terms of like, I'm like, why does he have like, why are there these relations with our extended family? Why are we not seeing our cousins and our aunties and our uncles and this internal family turmoil? What I started learning is that it started back in childhood. Mm-hmm. So then when you fast forward, James, you start realizing, like, for me, because we didn't have we have a great extended family, but we don't have a great relationship with them because it was taught to us that these relationships are optional. It wasn't verbalized. It was just shown.
It's just shown.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's optional, right?
Yeah.
And so why do I bring that up? Because now, when we all start going through things, I can't reach out to my cousin because I don't have a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. Can't reach out to my auntie because, like, don't have a relationship with them, right? And they're not able to identify things that they might see in me that my cousin, my uncle, whatever, they've seen it before, right? Because that's the power of family. Mm-hmm. That's also part of the community. Mm-hmm. We can't leverage that. And so that also plagues our mental health because some of these natural, and it started way back in the day, right? Like, they've been dividing our family up for years, but we have found ways creatively to do it ourselves as well, too. Mm-hmm. When there's a breakdown in family, it impacts mental health because the safety guard and the network that you would naturally have around you is now compromised.
That's right.
And so that's what I saw. And so I'll finish that by saying, for me, I had to go back and do work to understand, like, what happened in the family.
That's right.
Right? Because that created identity crisis for me as well, too, which is a whole other set of conversations, man. But family plays a huge part, and friends as well too. But as we talk about this community, we talk about friends, we talk about finding therapists and coaches and things like that. But it's also family as well too. Like, that's another avenue. Fraternities, sororities, that's another community. But at the end of the day, finding people who you could talk to and sit down and have a conversation that actually care about you.
Yeah. That's interesting because I knew one of the things I was doing when I was trying to find myself, or whatever you want to call it, trying to navigate that, is I would confide in people that I was like, why am I confiding in all these people? They don't really, they don't have my back. They really don't even understand me.
Yeah.
And how can they give me feedback or give me insight on me? Yeah. Well, hell, I don't even understand me. Yeah. So what I had to do is that I just shut it down. I shut it off. I stopped. I said, the only person I'm ever going to confide into is, if I have a partner at that time, that'd be one.
Yep.
I'll confide into stuff that's really, really eating me up. Will be that person that I trust, is that my coach or my counselor or my therapist, so I can get it off my chest, but also so I know how to navigate through that. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to confide into.
Yeah.
And I'm going to deal with my own problems on my own, not on my own like I don't need anybody, but I need to be strong on my own to be able to say, you know what, I got a problem today. I need to get it fixed. Yeah. That's my responsibility. That's not your responsibility. It's not my mom's responsibility. It's not my partner or my wife's responsibility. That's my responsibility. My responsibility. One, my happiness is an inside job.
Absolutely.
It's an inside job. Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of relationships don't work, because everyone's leaning on each other. Yeah. I need you to fill this hole and fix me. Yep. Right. So for me, people ask me, it's like, hey, are you cool? You're 60. Are you cool? Being alone or being in relationships? Like, hey, I'm the happiest I've been in freaking decades.
Right.
So, so for me, anybody, at this point in my life, it just needs to be 1 + 1 = 3.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah, because you've done the work.
Because I've done the work on myself.
But
when you do the work on yourself, the problem is your friends and people that you
absolutely.
That gets, people you associate with, that kind of just gets fragmented, because at that point you're like, I don't really have I'm a different
person.
I've always been in here internally. I just needed to do the work to get it out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And like one of the last things I'll share too, man, is I think that I would encourage people to, like, lean into the people around you.
Yep.
I think, to your point, like, no one's responsible for your happiness. And I would say that when you have people around you who love you, I don't think we leverage them enough. Right. So with your friends, challenge your friends. Like, better to do it now than find out later when you're in a crisis. Like, have some conversations, like push the envelope on having real conversations with your friends. Now, I think if you're married, your spouse is there. Like, the reality is that person is seeing some things, right? Depending on your relationship, like a lot of times, and I can speak as a man, a lot of times what draws a man away from a woman away from a man is just this guy is going through things and he does not know how to verse it, because he just definitely does not want to appear weak to his significant other. Absolutely not.
That's right.
Right. Whereas the one person who is legally obligated to care for you, right, and hopefully romantically interested in doing so, right, is right there in the house.
That's right.
But that person we choose to not share anything with, and we're like, yeah, man, whatever, man, I'm fine, I'm good,
I'm gonna do it.
And it's like you got the cheat code right here, right? And so like that's one thing I can say, like for me and my wife, like having those conversations and helping to unpack each other's trauma and creating those safe spaces, like that took our marriage to a different level, right? But I didn't know, like 10 years into marriage, I didn't know that was gonna be part of the deal, right? But once we started going through stuff, and I'm like, man, here's what's going on in my family. She's like, really? Like, let's talk about it. Like, what's going on? Where'd that start from? Or she's telling me something that's going on in her family. I'm like, well, where did that begin? Well, you know what I've noticed? Every time I go home, I notice this or that. Really? Right? You start having these conversations, and this person is able to help. And so, but that's also true for friendships.
Oh, yeah.
And so I would say, like, lean into the people around you naturally to just like challenge it and test the waters. Because when you go through something, you need to know who's with you and who ain't.
That's right. I mean, I always know. I know when something's off for one of my friends that I texted my sir. I know.
You just
I can hear it, or the text doesn't get responded to quick enough. Not quick enough, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a serious delay.
Like,
Or it's like, dude, you good, or any of my friends. I mean, I have several good women friends as well too. Same thing, just like I, call, I don't care, tell them names. I say, you good?
Oh yeah,
you good?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I just want to hear.
Oh man,
because I know she's all over the place, right? And she's doing her thing. And I kind of started saying, I just want to know that you're good. Just give me a thumbs up. Bro. That's all I need,
bro. Like,
because you know how your relationships kind of vibe.
Yeah,
that's
a whole other conversation right there. Is just even platonic, friendships of the opposite sex.
Oh yeah.
It's so important. So my best.
They say you're not supposed to have.
And they say you can't have them. I have one. My best friend is female, right? Now my wife knows that everybody's happy, everybody's good. But like that's my dog, right? And like she can talk to me and keep it 100% with me. So, hold on, Kurt. Like, wait a minute. Like that don't sound right. That's what's going on. There's times where I'm like, hold on, Andrea. I'm like, let me pull up to Chicago. What? You good? Yeah. And so like, but having that's another person who has a very different perspective from you. Right. Absolutely. And so that can also help with mental health. It's like, if you can have these platonic friendships, it's also important.
Yeah. I had a friend who wasn't doing well health wise, and I'm checking on her every week. You're good. I had to go to the hospital, make sure she was all right. That kind of stuff. I'm just. It's the same thing. If something happened to me, I kind of expect that too, Yeah. The same way. I know when my mom was sick and I was in Michigan, and I had to transfer her back from Michigan back to Chicago and stuff like that. People, I told people, say, my mom was sick, just, need prayers, whatever the case is. And, they were there. So for me, it's not reciprocity. I mean, I don't look at it. It's not, this is what I really want to say. I don't look at my relationships as being transactional.
No.
Okay?
No.
They're not transactional.
No.
And if they begin to be transactional, then I'm not your dude. Because I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm all in. I'm going to ride with you. I'm going to die with you. But I'm not going to play this game like I did. I'm not keeping a scorecard.
No.
I'm not doing it. If I gave you $100,000 and you didn't give me nothing, because you really needed to get yourself out,
exactly.
I'm not keeping that scorecard.
Yeah.
I'll never bring that up to you. So if you need something, I'm there for you. There's just no questions asked. Just be honest with me what you're going through, so if I can help you, I'm gonna help you.
Yep.
So I've experienced that too on the opposite side, where people start to question. It's like, dude, I thought you, and that's when you start to realize and say, okay, maybe
we're seeing this two different ways.
Maybe I'm not vetting people properly. Maybe that's a bad word, but at the end of the day, maybe I'm not just viewing this the right way, and that works on your mental psyche too, because you're just saying, I'm hurting or I'm not doing well. I need you. And so,
no, I mean, I'm 100% with you. I think like one of the silver lining through all this and the red thread is just getting to a place where you feel comfortable talking to people, wherever that first conversation is, it could be friend, could be a coach, could be something, but we all deal with things.
Absolutely.
We all deal with things. And mental health runs in my family. Like I've seen it show up in very different ways.
But getting back, because I know we're going on and we're up against it a little bit here. I see it a lot with young black men because I teach black men. Proud of that. Nothing better than being here at Morehouse teaching future Morehouse men.
Yeah.
But I also get to close doors. Hey, I got to talk to you. And I remember that 3 years ago, it first happened to me. I need to talk to you. And they closed the door. And all of a sudden, they say, you good? And they know how I am. I'm working, got my CNBC on, trying to see what the market is. That's just my MO.
Yeah.
Hey, professor, I need you to kind of look at me. Yes? All right. And the student just broke down. And just poured, it was like a floodgate. And I was like, wow. Okay, I didn't know I was signing up for this.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, and I started realizing, I said, asking questions, finding about their background. Got a lot of black men who don't have a black role model. Yeah. That's a male. And that's real. And it's more prevalent now than probably when I was in school. And so when I see that, let me back up. When I saw that, that's when I said, okay, not only am I teaching, I got to be a role model too. And I didn't realize that's what I was actually signing up for. That was probably the biggest piece that I'm really signing up for. It's not just teaching, it's not developing, but it's being a role model for these guys. So that means how I come to class, how I dress. So the students know that I love wearing my hoodies with things on it, the slogans. They've seen me dressed up. They've seen me come here in my sweatsuit. I want them to know that I work out.
Right.
So I've gone to different levels and stuff like that. But I've also in class have candid conversations with them and say, okay, we have an hour, 20 minutes of class. The last 5 minutes, we're just going to talk. Y'all got to get locked in. You're going to have microaggressions against you. This is a safe space for 4 years. Get your mind right. At a buddy, it's supposed to say, his grandfather said, get your mind right. Yeah. Get your mind right and really get it right. Yeah. Because what you about to go through, you're going to need to have someone to talk to. You're going to need somebody to reach out to. So when those guys come in and close the door and tell me, I don't know what my purpose is, and I don't know what I'm doing, and that kind of stuff, you have to take first step and say, okay, who are you? What's important to you? What drives you? What gets you up in the morning? Who's your tribe?
Yeah.
And a lot of them I've had a lot of kids tell me they don't even know how to find friends. And that's scary because everyone's on their technology. So they're not really interacting. They don't know how to walk up to somebody and say, hey, my name is James. What's your name? They don't know how to do that, but they know how to do it online.
Yep. Exactly. So, I think that's it, man. So part of the EQ, and we could talk forever. But part of EQ is knowing how to read others as well too. Well, the unfortunate reality in this generation that we're all succumb to it is just that we were a little bit older when it happened. We all use our phones.
Yep.
The difference is that we weren't 13, 14, 15 when it became prevalent, right? So there were some social skills that we just naturally had to develop. Something simple as, all right, if you called your friend's house in the 80s, right, you had to talk to their mama first. Right? Hey, Miss Williams, how you doing? Yeah, is Michael there? Okay, yeah. How you doing? Okay, cool. All right, let me put Michael on the phone. Right?
You knew the parents.
Oh, you knew the parents. Miss Williams.
How you doing?
Yeah, all of that, right? And if you weren't nice, if that was you talking about vetting, she was vetting. If you didn't show up the right, how your mom? Okay,
James,
cool.
Curtis on the phone, pick up. Yep.
And now you've been allowed to talk to that person.
Right.
Basic social skills.
Yep.
Whereas now you kind of bypass all that. You don't have to talk at all, right?
But I got a better one.
Yeah, what's that?
I got a better one. What about when you were in high school, grammar school too?
Yeah.
And you liked a girl.
Oh.
And you were at a party. And you had to walk.
Oh, my goodness.
And you talk about heavy legs.
Oh, man.
You got to go over there and you got to ask her to dance or you got to ask for the number and you got to say, I like you.
Yeah, in front of everybody. In front of all the friends. And they all checking you out. Right. It's not like.
And your boys in there like,
oh my God. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's real stuff, right?
It is.
Now you just send a text.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And so that social development isn't happening. Yeah. Right. So then what happens, you're not used to talking, not having to confront certain things. I like you. to a girl in front of other girls at like that, hey man, I don't know more pressure.
That's pressure.
You know what I'm saying? And so, but that's you being vulnerable, right? In a public space, right? And those are things that are taught. Whereas now, if you don't have to do that as much, what happens is that you do become 20 years old, and now you're talking to your professor and saying, "Hey, look, I've not had as many opportunities to voice vulnerability because it's not naturally a part of how we operate as a society. You seem like, thank God for you, right? Because you seem like somebody I can trust. Hey, can I talk to you? Right? But just think about how much it took for that student,
I know,
to decide to build up the courage
to do that.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, I walk campus now.
Yeah.
I always say hi to the students, and I eat with them at lunch and stuff like that to try to connect to them. But that's the one thing I do know.
Oh my God,
these guys don't know how to walk. I say, I want you to walk across that. I want you to walk across that that basketball court, and I want you to ask her.
You got to get somebody's number,
and then I want you to ask her. Like, dude, that's I can't do that.
Man,
I'm not doing that.
Man. Yeah, but that's just how we had to operate, right? You go to the mall, you're like, hey. Yeah, so
this is good, man. This has been great.
Oh, same.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming to talk to the students tonight. But I wanted to do this as a podcast just to kind of, to put it out there, and hopefully, people will chime in and say, "Hey, I'm going through something," or "This has helped me," with anything. And but yeah, I'm proud of you.
Oh, for sure, man.
Member of Kappa Alpha Psi. I'm going to say that.
Yo.
And nothing but love and appreciation for you, man.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for the opportunity, man. This was great. I wish the Business Academy and everything that you're doing much success, and I know you already achieved it, man. So I appreciate it.
Thank you again. It's the best, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you.